This video is to all of you that think that you lack creativity and that you think that you are not a creative person. I'm Mariana from Eco Fashion Sewing, and I think this is very important, and I couldn't stand and was really painful when I heard I am not a creative person. Some of you wrote that to me, and it's completely because of our mindset. But let me tell you a little bit more about this. So as we grow up, we think that creativity is just a talent. And if you're not a creative person, you can't do anything about it. But in reality, is that actually creativity is skill. It's something that you can build up upon that, and it's something similar to sewing. Like when you start sewing, you need to follow some steps. You need to acquire some techniques and skills, and to continue, you buy patterns for clothing to make clothing, or you do different sewing projects. So this is development of your skills, and it's the same with creativity. Unfortunately, we don't have this setup to practice and exercise our creativity. At least not that visible like it is in sewing. But it's something very, very similar. And talking about upcycling clothes and creativity, when you start sewing and you want to make clothing, you buy usually patterns. And now that's the catch. With buying patterns and learning to do pattern making and to sew your own clothing, you actually have something additional like crutches, and you learn not just to sew, but these crutches are for your creativity. So you're not facing in that phase, you're not facing building up your creativity and developing your creativity, because you have already someone done for you all the patterns. You just need to select the fabric and then to sew the pieces together. Yes, it's not that easy to do that as well. But I'm talking that here you're not exposed to a task to develop your creativity. And because the creativity is skill as well, so it just declines or it just stays on the same level while your sewing skills develop meanwhile. And I'm telling that not just because it's a theory of mine or just something I thought of, but it's actually happening to me while I was studying fashion design. I was going to go further in advanced diploma, but I needed to make my own fashion collection of I don't know how many pieces. And I actually got very, very scared because I couldn't think of any type of clothing, of any design. My head was empty. So I thought, no, I'm not a designer. I'm not a creative person. I just can do the sewing and all this, but not to create something myself. And that's why I stopped myself to continuing. And I have something like an example from my student years, and I call it burnt mill because it's a terrible design. It's really well done, like sewing, and it's all was done following all the steps that they recommended to have inspiration, then to draw my design, and then to make the pattern and all that. But at the end, when I saw the final result, my burnt mill, I actually really felt terrible because the design it's awful. But I'm going to make another video about this and explain you a little bit more. So following my story, after doing that and deciding I'm not a creative person, I'm not a designer, in a couple of years, I followed my path. And when I started to focusing completely on upcycling clothes, for 2017, I did an upcycled collection for the first Eco Fashion Week Australia. And that's just not more than 5 years in between. The thing is that creativity is just, and thinking of it as a skill or as a personal trait, is just a mindset. And I'm making this video hopefully just to get you into that and realize that if you change your mindset that you're not creative person and just take that the creativity is a skill and you can start building that skill and developing it. If you change that mindset, that will be the hugest turning point for you. And you can start very simple. Just when you think of, oh, what I can turn this garment into and how can I transform it? Just when you think of that, usually the first thing is to have an empty mind and nothing more. And at that point, I was just like you. I decided, no, I can't think of anything. But actually, this is the first step when you start thinking about transforming something old clothing into new. So this is the first step, the first stage. And if you stay a little bit longer in that stage, the next day or even the next week, some of my designs for the upcycled collection, I thought of one of a design for 2 weeks, a period of 2 weeks. So it takes time for you, and give your time to your mind and to your brain just to figure out what you can do. You will have different ideas, follow that ideas. And even if you start with something and you don't like it like 100%, continue with that idea, leave it for a day, then come back and you will have a next idea. So the first idea that you don't like will be like a step for the next one. And at the end, you will find a really great idea and great design, and you will be able to do it. So that doesn't happen like for 2 weeks. It needs time to be more of it needs time because it's a process and you need to build up on that process. But just thinking of the empty mind and not having ideas or not being creative, just think of that as the first step and don't decide to give up. So hopefully that message will give you a little bit more inspiration and motivation not to give up. Bye for now. Mariana from Eco Fashion Sewing. See you in the next video.